Over the last 10 years, we have lowered the cost of computing by 1,000,000 times and the cost of deep learning by 1,000,000 times, according to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Our TCO is so good that even when competitors' chips are free, it is still not cheap enough. We could use computational power to accomplish something incredibly wonderful if we could bring down its marginal cost to almost zero. The idea of scraping the entire internet and putting it in one computer and letting it figure out what the program is crazy. Large language models are literally used to extract all of digital human knowledge from the internet and put it into a computer and let it go figure out what the knowledge is. However, you would never think of doing it unless the marginal cost of computing was zero. We made that discovery, and now we've enabled this new way of doing software. For those of you who are still unfamiliar with artificial intelligence, let me give you an example. We have discovered how to use a computer to understand the meaning, not the pattern, of nearly all digital knowledge. Gene sequencing digitizes genes, but we can now decipher their meaning thanks to massive language models. We are able to comprehend the significance of a cell by looking at its many interconnected genes. When you requested the computer to summarize, and from its perspective, this is no different than a full page of words. Could you please summarize it for me? What does it mean that this is just like a long page of genes? What does that lengthy, thick protein page mean? What does it imply that artificial intelligence, AI, which was made possible by this new type of computer that took 3 decades to develop and is arguably the most significant invention in the history of the technology sector, will most likely be the most significant development of the 21st century? When Jensen is questioned about the GPU chip that powers artificial intelligence at the moment, your H100 comes up. And because you're launching the H200, which we believe you intend to improve could you please consider the following 5 years? In March 2029, you'll be launching the H700. What will it enable us to achieve that we aren't able to do now? Let me say something about the chip that we just described. Jensen then states, if you're in the audience, you probably imagine there's a chip kind of like this. The chip that they just described weighs 70 ulls. There are 35,000 parts in all. 8 of those components came from TSM. And even though that one chip can replace a whole data center's worth of outdated CPUs, it still costs more than any other computer in history. Each chip costs $250,000. Our H100 chip is the first $250,000 chip in the world, yet the system it replaced with the wires alone cost more money. The amazing thing we did was take this complete data center and connect all those old PCs with wires. We got into this one chip and how it functions. It functions not only at the chip level, but also at the algorithm level, the data center level, and the chip level. It doesn't work alone. It functions in concert with other components, which is why you connect them all together. Networking is one aspect of this process, and it operates at data center scales. Taken together, these developments will boost deep learning's computing capacity by 1,000,000 times over the course of the next 10 years. When you do that, we type of learn something today, put it to use, go train inference, learn something, and put it to use again later on, creating a continuous learning environment. The inference process, training process, deployment process, and application process will all just merge into one, and that is precisely what we do. You understand that we don't have a set time frame in which I will complete my learning and then just do inference. Instead, you will be learning and inferencing continuously, and the reinforcement learning loop will be built upon both artificially generated data that we create in real time and real-world data that we interact with. Thus, this machine will constantly be thinking, creating synthetic data, engaging in reinforcement learning, and being rooted in actual experiences. It will test some of its ideas using real-world experience and be anchored in that, so the whole loop will just be one enormous loop. When computing becomes 1,000,000 times more affordable than it is today, as Jensen states, and I agree with him, you will be willing to explore many new avenues. This is no different from my willingness to travel further, because the marginal cost of transportation has also decreased to zero. We're going to reduce the marginal cost of computing to almost zero, which means that we'll do a lot more computation. As you probably know, there have been some recent reports suggesting that NVIDIA will face more competition in the inference market than it has in the training market. But what you're saying is that it's actually going to be one market. I can travel to New York fairly cheaply from here. If it had taken a month, probably never go. It looks like you're going to be continuously training and switching to inference, possibly inside one chip. I wonder if there will be a distinct market for training chips and an inference chip market. When you prompt an AI, it can be a chat GPT or a co-pilot. The reason for this is that when you prompt it, it's doing inference, which is what generates information for you. The reason people pick on inference is because when you look at training and the NVIDIA system doing training, you think that looks too hard. That's because 100% of them are idiot GPUs, and hence, NVIDIA's most of the time you engage our platforms are when you're inferencing. Therefore, we are 100% of the world's inferencing today. I will not go and do that. According to Jensen, his company produces chips that don't look like chips, despite what many of its rivals claim. We're more interested in inference than training. The goal of an inference developer is to get as many customers as possible to utilize the product on a big install base. Inference is an install-based problem, which makes it no different from building an iPhone application. This makes inference extremely difficult. They act in this manner because there are so many iPhone users. Nearly everyone owns one. Therefore, if you built an application for that phone, it would be beneficial to all parties. In the case of NVIDIA, our accelerated computing platform is the only one available. I'm the only competitor to a customer who knows they're going to design a chip to replace ours, says Jensen, and I show them not only what my current chip is, but also what my next chip is and what my chip after that is. If a customer can do something specific that's more cost-effective. To be honest, I'm even surprised by that, because these days, computers are more like data centers that require operation, so people who buy and sell chips consider the cost of chips. The cost of operations, time to deployment, performance, utilization, and flexibility across all these applications are factors that data center operators consider when determining the overall cost of operations. Our objective is to bring so much value that the alternative is not about cost, since our TCO is so good that even when the competitors' chips are free, it's not cheap enough. They posed a question that kind of aroused a competitive gene in me, so even though I was trying not to sound competitive, I ended up AC. I would like to express my regret for having come across as somewhat competitive. They shocked me with a competitive I mistakenly believed I was on an economic forum when I asked Jensen to go a little deeper into his view of artificial intelligence's role in drug discovery. He replied that the first step is to interpret the digital information we have, and then the question becomes, now, what is the meaning of that protein? What is the meaning of this protein? What is this function? As you guys know, you can chat with a PDF. According to Jensen, his favorite tools are those that allow you to put a PDF copy of a research paper into ChatGPT and speak with the researchers about what problems they were inspired to address and what their breakthrough was. That's one of the most profound things we can do, is to understand the meaning of biology. Does that make sense? Once we understand the meaning of almost any information that it's in the world of computer science and computing, amazing engineers and scientists know exactly what to do with it. What was a state of art before then? In the future, we going to take a protein and put it into ChatGPT just like PDF. What are you for what enzymes activate? You know what makes you happy. But the breakthrough is that students at Stanford and Oregon State are extremely proud of Jensen because Stanford has many students who aspire to be entrepreneurs. These students may be majoring in computer science or engineering, for example. When asked for advice from the students to increase their chances of success, Jensen responds, "I think one of my great advantages is that I have very low expectations. The majority of Stanford grads have very high hopes for you, and you should be expected to have high expectations because you attended a fantastic university, achieved remarkable achievement, and are surrounded by other amazing young people. You naturally have very high standards for yourself. People who have very high expectations tend to be less resilient, and resilience is unfortunately important when it comes to success. He continues, I don't know how to teach it to you except that I hope suffering happens to you. Furthermore, I continue to refer to pain and suffering inside our firm with great delight, but I mean it positively since you want to shape the company's identity and bring out the best in them. You know that greatness comes from character rather than intelligence. Additionally, character isn't built by intelligent people. Rather, it's formed by those who have suffered, which includes all of you Stanford students. Jensen adds, may you know plenty of suffering and agony. When asked 2 questions by the audience, the first was about your leather jacket anecdote, and the second was about how much more semiconductor manufacturing capacity you estimated would be required in 5 to 10 years to support the development of artificial intelligence. Jensen replies, okay, thanks for the 2 questions. First of all, this is what my wife bought me, and this is what I'm wearing. I don't shop for myself at all. She knows that I've been around since I was 17. And when she finds something that doesn't itch, that's when she knows it is something I like. If you look in my closet, everything is a shirt because she doesn't want to buy me anything else. For this reason, this is everything she bought me, and this is everything I'm wearing. He continues, saying that if I'm not happy with the response, I can go shopping. If not, I can wear it and it will be fine for me. All right, now for the second question. The prognosis is actually really, this is quite Jensen claims. I'm terrible at forecasting, but I'm very good at first principled reasoning of the size of the opportunity. Let me explain. I don't know how many fabs there are in the world of computing today, but I do know that everything we do is retrieval-based. Everything was pre-recorded. Does that make sense? I mean, every time you touch a phone, recall that someone wrote something down and saved it in a pre-recorded location. Okay, so every modality that you currently use has 100% pre-recorded content. However, in the future, the majority of computers will be generative. How far does that alter the nature of computers is the question. We'll need more fabs, but it's not like computing efficiency is what it is today. So demand isn't this high while I'm improving computing 1,000,000 times every 10 years. The question is, how much more networking do we need? Less of that, do we need memory of this? It's only a matter of time until all computers worldwide are completely transformed, and every single data center will be one of those general-purpose computing data centers, even though demand is increasing by 1 trillion times, and that has to balance each other out. The infrastructure worth $1 trillion will be entirely renovated, and new infrastructure will be added on top of that. When the subsequent query was posed, Jensen responded, it's important to keep in mind that the last question carried a lot of pressure. Can you all agree that the person who asked the last question shouldn't leave us all feeling down? I'm going to use your commandment to have low expectations at this point. You mentioned that you're in competition with your customers, so I'm wondering why they're doing that given the advantages you have. Additionally, I'm wondering if you see yourself developing more specialized solutions for customers of a particular scale in the future as opposed to your current, more horizontal solutions. Yes, we are willing to alter the answers. However, why is the bar so high given that every version of our platform has 2 different kinds of switches, a GPU, a CPU, and a networking processor? We have only developed 5 chips for a single generation, which many mistakenly believe to be one chip. In reality, there are 5 distinct chips, each costing hundreds of millions of dollars to develop. These chips must be installed in a system along with networking, optical, and cap transceiver components, as well as a ton of software. A computer this size requires a lot of software to run, so if the modification is extremely different, you will need to redo the entire R&D process. On the other hand, if the customizing leverage is comprehensive and provides value, then it makes perfect sense. It could be a new approach to numerical processing that has the potential to be expanded, a confidential computing system, a proprietary security system, or something else entirely. We're extremely accepting of the fact that our clients are aware of this. In the world of technology, there are few figures as iconic as Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. His visionary leadership, relentless drive for innovation, and remarkable foresight have not only shaped NVIDIA's trajectory, but have also left the entire industry in awe. With each groundbreaking announcement, Huang has continued to push the boundaries of what's possible, leaving competitors scrambling to keep up. As we witness the impact of Huang's leadership, it's clear that he has made everyone speechless. Under his guidance, NVIDIA has become synonymous with innovation, with groundbreaking developments in artificial intelligence, gaming, and high-performance computing. From the inception of QBA and GPU-accelerated computing to the recent advancements in AI-powered graphics and autonomous driving, Huang has steered NVIDIA through a series of transformative moments that have redefined the tech landscape. Huang's influence extends far beyond the products and technologies NVIDIA produces. His leadership style, characterized by his passion, charisma, and unwavering dedication to excellence, has inspired a generation of entrepreneurs, engineers, and innovators. Through his speeches, interviews, and public appearances, Huang has captivated audiences with his infectious enthusiasm and his ability to articulate complex ideas in a way that resonates with both tech enthusiasts and laypeople alike. As Huang steps down from his role as CEO, he leaves behind a legacy that will be remembered for generations to come. His impact on NVIDIA's growth and success cannot be overstated. Under his leadership, NVIDIA's market value has soared, making it one of the most valuable companies in the world. Investors who had the foresight to believe in NVIDIA and Huang's vision have been handsomely rewarded, as the company's stock price has climbed to unprecedented heights. But perhaps more importantly, Huang leaves behind a culture of innovation and excellence that will continue to drive NVIDIA forward. His emphasis on pushing the boundaries of what's possible and his willingness to take calculated risks have become ingrained in NVIDIA's DNA, ensuring that the company remains at the forefront of technological innovation for years to come. As we bid farewell to Jensen Huang as CEO of NVIDIA, it's impossible not to feel a sense of gratitude for all that he has accomplished. From his humble beginnings as a co-founder of NVIDIA to his tenure as CEO, Huang has consistently demonstrated a rare combination of vision, leadership, and passion that has made NVIDIA the industry powerhouse it is today. So, as we embark on this new chapter in NVIDIA's journey, let us take a moment to appreciate the incredible impact that Jensen Huang has had on the world of technology and investing. His legacy will continue to inspire and shape the future of innovation for generations to come. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Investing Tutorial for more insights into the world of investing and technology. And as always, happy investing!